Welcome back. Of course, we've got Greg Jackson, our MMA Yoda, if you will, this morning. And earlier we were talking about women MMA fighters. Tell me about who's leading the pack with the guys.
Well, we've got a lot of great fighters here. They come from all over the world, which is, a real blessing for Albuquerque and me. And we've got people like Rashad Evans, George St. Pierre, even local guys like Carlos Condit that are making big names for themselves. So we have these amazing group of fighters. And Kyle Noak from Australia, they all come and they kind of congregate here in New Mexico and get ready for these matches that they have all over the world.
Let's touch a little more on Carlos Condit. And when I first started watching him on the WEC, he was shredding everybody. And tell us a little bit more about training Carlos.
Carlos is one of those amazing kids. He's a local New Mexican. He's on the biggest stage. He just had the biggest knockout of his career. He beat Dan Hardy, who has just fought one of my other guys, George St. Pierre, for his world title. And, of course, Dan Hardy lost to George St. Pierre, and then Carlos Condit came in and was able to defeat him as well. So it's another great Albuquerque success story. This kid, who was raised here, is now fighting the elite of the elite and making a huge name for himself.
Excellent fighter. Some of his phenomenal. And the way his body contorts, he's like an anaconda or something with it.
He sure is. And he's got so much heart. You know, he's one of those fighters that he's so much fun to watch because he really has so much heart. When he's pushed to the wall, he's courageous, he's brave, and he pushes back, and he's just a great, great guy.
And I think people really like to follow the people who they know are fighting with their heart. Because, I mean, you joked around about Rocky Balboa, but why are those kind of movies such successes? Why? Because we want to see the heart in a fighter.
Right. You watch to be inspired, you know what I mean? And that's what's great. I mean, even in the Roman days with gladiators, which is, of course, nothing like what we do. Those guys are fighting to the death. But even then, part of a gladiator's job was to show how you act in danger. And that's how the Roman people would learn. This is how you act when your death is imminent. This is how you act.
Sure.
And so when you see a fighter doing great things like that, you're inspired. You're saying, you know what, I want to be courageous like, like a George St. Pierre, like a Carlos. When I'm pushed to the wall, I'm a fighter too. And so when you get inspired like that, that's just a great thing. Why not spread that around?
Well, that's a really good point. And another thing I think a lot of people want to know is, if you could elaborate a little bit, what is the difference between self-defense and mixed martial arts? Because, I mean, there are no rules in self-defense.
Self-defense is you're fighting for your life. You know, you're fighting to defend your family. And mixed martial arts is a sport. It is the sporting aspect of self-defense. And what's cool about mixed martial arts is because we do have very strict rules, but there are a lot less than boxing. So you really get a sense of, hey, this works. Because the first thing everybody says about self-defense is, well, how do I know that would work? How do I know that would work in a fight? You know, that wouldn't work. You know, you can't do the
That's what I always think. I'll be honest, I'm skeptical.
Right.
I'm very
skeptical. Now I can take a television monitor and I can say, you want to see this move work 15 times in a row? And we'll show you the fight. There's this move, there's this move, there's this move, there's this move. So you don't have that is it going to happen that way? I'll show you. I'll show you again and again and again. And that's real power. You can actually see these techniques actually working in an actual fight, and that's really cool.
We really need to learn. One of these days, we'll get in there and we'll take the camera crew, we'll go and we'll do it.
Because a common misconception is that you're going to go in and get beat up. It's nothing like that at all. We're super mellow, super laid back. You're just there to get in shape and have fun. That's what we're really all about.
I love that.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people will believe that you just train fighters, but you do more than that, right?
No, fighters are actually a very small part of what we do.
Oh, really?
Yeah, fighters are basically my morning. And then the rest of the day, we're training normal people to do self-defense.
So a lot of normal people have access to Greg Jackson training.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can learn all the good stuff, but you're going to do it in a fun and safe environment. You're not going to jump in there with George St. Pierre trying to punch you in the face. That doesn't happen.
I don't think anybody wants that.
No.
I would never be on TV again.
Right, exactly. No, it's fun, it's safe. I mean, I wouldn't be in business if it wasn't fun and safe, and just a great time. Plus, on top of that, you're learning to defend yourself. And like I was saying earlier, it should be like learning to read. Like, if something happens, you want to know, hey, I at least know something to get myself out of the situation.
And speaking of reading, somebody does a lot of reading when it comes to you as the author, don't you, Brian?
Yes. Both Jackson's books are phenomenal. It's like having Jackson right there. I mean, if you don't have time to go to the gym and you want to know how Greg Jackson would operate, and he breaks down the diet plan in the ground game better than any nutritionist I've ever seen.
Right.
Down to the last calorie. I mean, this is what you eat if you're prepping for a fight. This is what you want to eat if you're losing weight. And then in the stand-up game, he has what you're preparing for. You want to know your opponent inside and out and break him down, so that way you're not surprised when you get into the ring with it. Both books are phenomenal. I was excited and infused with knowledge about mixed martial arts.
Well, we can tell. You've taught us already, and I'm interested. I think obviously that's a really good promotion for the book, because I think a lot of people want to read it. And speaking of promotion, we want to promote a little special event that's going to be going on here in Albuquerque at the Hard Rock Casino and Hotel. The next show is going to be on April 9th, and it will feature Julie Kedzie.
And like we were talking about, she's an amazing female fighter. She's going to be headlining, and wait till you see this girl fight. She's so exciting. She's so sweet. You would never know she's a fighter. She giggles and smiles and laughs, but when that cage door closes, she's a little scrapper, and it's a lot of fun to watch her fight. And it's a great show because you get to see these future superstars today. Wow. If you're a fan of sports, it would be like going and seeing, you know, Michael Jordan before he plays basketball. You got to see him play in these little leagues. So we've got all these amazing fighters right here in Albuquerque, and you're going to get to see them before they get to these big giant shows.
We're lucky enough to be local, to have access to these local fighters before they explode, and you might not be able to see them anymore.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, we are going to be right back with another look at Greg Jackson.